This is DDS. We are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and the man Matthew Parker, joining us by phone. Parker, tell me what's good, buddy.
Oh, man, just ready for the best time of college football, these random matchups.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of random matchups to discuss.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to the College Reaction Show. We'll start right here with our SEC. And the SEC championship game, 41-24, Alabama over Georgia. Georgia came into this game allowing less than 9 points per game. Bryce Young, Parker, set an SEC record 421 passing yards. Is he the leader for the Heisman?
He's not only the leader, he's the winner. He won it. There was a play in the first half he made, and I looked over. I was watching the game with someone. I said, "That's it. He won the Heisman." Georgia, this defense that we heard about being one of the best defenses ever, gave up 7 touchdowns coming into this game. Bryce Young had 3 in one quarter.
He did. He had 4 overall, 3 passing and 1 rushing.
You know, all year we had been talking about, is the secondary the weak part in that defense? But the front 4 was just so strong and would get to the quarterback so quick that, I just don't feel like we ever got to really see the secondary challenged. I think we saw glimpses of it against the likes of Tennessee that will take those deep shots where we're like, there might be something there. But again, that front 4 of Georgia has just been covering up, in my opinion, a lot of the weaknesses that are in the secondary because, for whatever reason, I thought that Alabama's offensive line was kind of one of their weak points, but they sure did protect pretty well. And they protect just well enough for Bryce Young to just slice these guys up.
Yeah, I thought the same thing about the offensive line, and I'm just sitting here looking back at Georgia's schedule. We've mentioned this a few times. I'm not saying they're not good or overrated or anything.
No.
But they really didn't play anybody. You're looking back at their schedule. Yeah, they played Clemson. They played Clemson when Clemson sucked.
Yeah.
They played a good Arkansas team, but that was finally running out of gas. They caught Florida on a down year. They caught Tennessee in a first-year rebuild and gave up more points to them than they did anybody all year other than Alabama. Maybe they're just a teeny bit overrated defensively.
Maybe, but I think that we can't overlook the fact that they just don't have the ability to score points. They can't play from behind. They don't have that kind of offense that can just be explosive to the point to where they can get in a shootout with a Bryce Young and an Alabama and go out there and score 45 points.
Yeah, I believe Bennett threw for plenty of yards, but the turnovers, very, very costly. Hats off to Nick Saban again here, Parker. Now Coach Smart moves to 0-4 against Nick Saban.
Just another victim.
Didn't y'all feel weird? I was going into the game. I was like, who should I should take in this game? I'm like, God, I feel like an idiot going against Nick Saban.
Yeah. Looking back, it was not probably a prudent move.
And Coach Saban, he said he had some ammo coming into this game. He goes, "You guys," referring to the media, "gave us a lot of positive rat poison this week." Did you hear that?
Man, I love listening to his rants. Yeah, I heard it. I love hearing him just absolutely rail on the media because honestly, it is one of the worst parts about college athletics, particularly football, where they're talking about kids and they're getting in kids' heads and they're inflating their egos and it changes. It could change things for the positive, obviously, because I'm sure Nick Saban was all over this all week, getting them ready, saying, "Look, this is what these guys are saying about you." So. He's a motivator for sure, and it had me fired up.
To play devil's advocate on this, though, Georgia knew they're in the college football playoffs, right? Like,
True.
Were they not going to empty the tank? They're not going to show everything. I know they wanted to win the SEC championship. I know they wanted to beat Alabama, but the end goal is to win the national championship. Do you show those wrinkles that you made not? Alabama had to empty everything. They had to win this game.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. And now look what's happened. Mechie's torn his ACL.
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge loss for them. Number one receiver.
And of course, my mind went to I was over here for a few minutes during the Alabama-Georgia SEC title game. I said, Blake, is it possible that the SEC has kind of hinted to the University of Georgia, hey, let's get 2 SEC teams in. Go ahead and do us a favor, Parker, and then let you guys battle it out later on.
I don't think that they would
Integrity.
They would do that, and I don't think that they want to play Alabama again. Sadly, we're probably looking. I mean, I know anything can happen, but we can do this predictions later. But we're probably looking at Georgia Alabama again, and I hope not, because I don't want to see another rematch. I'd like to see some new blood in there.
Yeah.
It's not good for college football. I don't think the ratings will be that great. It's just people are, even me. I love SEC football, and I'm just like, oh God, I don't want to see the same game I just saw.
Well, it could be. Let's see who else gets into this playoff. We're getting there.
Yeah,
so let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Championship game number 2. We'll discuss the Big Ten title game. Parker, you found number 13 Iowa matched up against number 2 Michigan. Was this a game at all?
Do it. Come on, Parker.
He's laughing.
Do it.
It was, you know what? It was so awful of a game. The one thing that I hate about Michigan in this game is, why the hell did Harbaugh have to score at the end? The over-under on this game was 44.5.
Yeah, that's why.
And he knew it. He absolutely knew it. And you cannot tell me coaches don't try to play for that stuff, because there's no reason to score that touchdown. There was just none, absolutely none, other than to do that.
So do you think that college coaches have the printout of the over-unders for their game in their pocket, and they just kind of glance at it and say, yeah, we're going to score
It's
here.
a play sheet.
Are you kidding? I absolutely. These places have major boosters. They know it's 44.5. I'm not saying they go out there and try, but they're like, you know what? Some major booster probably has a lot of money on this game.
Yeah.
Let's toss him a bone.
I got a couple $100,000 riding on this.
Let's score for him.
Yeah, I'm 100% believe that's true.
Well, hey, he's given up his bonus for everybody in the athletic department that's been affected by COVID. So maybe this was his way of getting his money back. You know, he could get him a nice little over-under going on here.
Brutal game. Iowa is just they are just an absolute trash fire of an offense. I don't even know what to say about it.
Well, my only question
totally
for
fraudulent.
Iowa, because I'll admit I didn't watch this game. How did the punter look for Iowa?
Dude, punter's legit.
No, I'm serious.
He is legit.
He's a weapon. We've already said it this week.
I thought y'all were joking. I watched, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, dude is Brett Kern remade. Let's see. Where is he?
Yeah.
Torrey Taylor, 331 yards on 7 punts, averaging 47.3. But I guarantee you over half of these were inside the 15, probably.
He had some crazy stat earlier in the year when we were talking about him. He had 3 inside the 5. I mean,
and
I wasn't joking. That was a serious question.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, Iowa they just couldn't get anything going. I mean, they are inept on offense. That's all you can really say. Michigan was never not going to win. This game was over in the first quarter at 14-3, which is kind of crazy to say. But I mean, 279 yards of offense is not going to cut it in a major Power 5 championship game, in my opinion. But Michigan, yeah, they put up some good numbers. What was that, 460? Yeah, 461 for total offense. Cade McNamara led the way on the quarterback side, 169 yards. Had an interception. A little bit sloppy there, but hey, they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They were pretty much just doing whatever they wanted against Iowa. So much for that great defense.
And you asked specifically in this game, Taylor, when punting it, put it at the 8, the 3, the 9 on consecutive punts in the second quarter alone.
I'm pretty sure that's the 3 times I saw him punt. It was incredible.
No, that's really good.
His other ones went 52 and 50 in the first half.
I was going to say, I think he had a couple that were like 70-yarders, but he punted into the end zone. So,
yeah.
Good job. Good job. So then we've talked about 3 of the teams that have made the playoffs. Let's get to the 4th. This was the dicey one. We're going to the American Athletic championship game that had number 4 Cincinnati pitted against number 21 Houston. This game was 14-13 at one point. I had Houston in the points. But Parker, Cincinnati does it again. 35-20 over Houston. Coach Luke Fickell at that point believed it was good enough to make the playoffs. What do you think?
Yeah, he lit a fire under them at halftime because it was 13-14 forever, and I was watching another game and doing some stuff, and I got busy doing something. All of a sudden, I flipped it back over, and I was like, "Holy crap! What happened?" And I had to go back and watch some of those highlights. I mean, but you're right; it was close for a while, and then second half happened.
Yeah, came out in the third quarter. Bearcats go on a 21-0 run in the third quarter. I don't know if he threatened them within an inch of their life or what, but I mean, they just been doing what they do all year. I mean, goodness gracious. It was at Jerome Ford, 187 yards rushing. Going to win a lot of games where you got a running back with 187 yards rushing.
The name player on their team's their quarterback, right, Parker?
Yeah, Ritter can air it out. He's good. They just didn't need him in this game.
I was going to say, he's just really efficient. 11-17,
he didn't
190.
have to do anything.
I mean, they were just going to take the air out of the ball on this one.
Yeah, Coach. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying this year, I mean, he's thrown for 3,200 yards and 30 touchdowns. Like,
nice.
He's a player.
Yep. So Coach Fickell says he believed at that point, this was an interview right after the game, he believed they did enough. He said, quote, "The resounding statement is what we just did on that football field. So the question was this win, along with their 12-0 resume, enough to keep them in the number 4 spot?" And the committee said yes. Are we shocked? Are we surprised that they're in? Should it have been Notre Dame?
Can you put a 2-loss team in over an undefeated team that is,
not a 2-loss
been fairly consistent all year?
No, not a 2-loss team, Parker.
No. They're in simply by the fact of everything they needed to happen happened.
Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State beats down Baylor. Oklahoma State's in over.
That's the one.
Yep.
That's the one.
That determined everything. Oklahoma State was going to be in.
And you can't pick Notre Dame. You can't. At some point, a head-to-head matchup has to count.
I truly agree. Yeah. That's a playoff game in of itself. Yeah.
So this game is for the Boise's and the TCUs of the world.
Yep.
This is the UCFs. This should have happened before now. It's a shame that it took every single domino falling perfectly for them to get in. But they're going to be going up against a red hot Bama team.
Yeah, so here are the matchups, Blake. We got Bama versus Cincinnati. You said Bama's got the injury thing at wide receiver.
Yep.
Michigan matched up against Georgia. Are we going with chalk here? Are we going – because chalk would say Bama, Michigan, but Parker's already hinted at an SEC rematch.
Man, I don't know that I would be surprised.
I think both SEC teams are favored, right?
I think that most people that are in the powers that be situation probably don't want it to be a rematch. But it is what it is. I mean, we're going to find out. First off, we're going to find out if the Cincinnati Bearcats are for real. And then we're going to find out if Jim Harbaugh has finally got over the hump with his whole situation there. Because I think a lot of people, so maybe even one or two people at this table, think that Jim Harbaugh is completely overrated. So we're going to find out. But, after Bama putting the beating on Georgia, does that expose Georgia? And is Michigan going to come in with some good protection and a lot of deep passes?
But Parker, can they? Because doesn't Michigan just want to run the ball like they did against Ohio State?
Yeah, I don't know if Cade McNamara can pass the ball.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I think that's going to be a really good game. I don't want to give you my official pick on this one yet, but I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be it's the game. This is the game to watch of all the bowl games.
Yeah.
this Michigan Georgia game is going to be better. It's just going to be better than whatever the national championship matchup is, I think.
Oh, I totally agree.
As far as the other side, I don't care. I am pulling hard for Cincinnati. I want Cincinnati to win it all. Give them the national championship. I don't care. I just don't want Cincinnati to get beat down by 30 because I know you're not supposed to take into account in previous years, but there will be another team in the future where it's a group of 5 team that could get in, and they'll think, man, remember what Cincinnati did last year? They lost by 5 touchdowns. Let's not put them in. Mm-hmm. So I just hope they don't get just blitzed off the board.
Yeah, at least put up a fight.
We'll see. Hey, we're an SEC football channel here, so we're going to quickly go down some of these bowl games that they're in. And if either one of you got a quick thought, just throw it out there. We're going to start with the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl that pits Auburn versus Houston.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like similar teams, right, Parker?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, Auburn finished their year and fired Mike Bobo. And they now have a backup quarterback in at Finley since Bo Nix is hurt. And Houston's won 11 games. I don't know. This game doesn't interest me that much because I know that Houston's coach, like, coaches have 2 different views on games, right? Like, they either want to win the bowl game or they want to prep for next season. And Houston's coach, Holgerson, is 2-6 in bowl games all time. He just seems to want to get the practices in and prep for next year. I'm not super excited about this one.
Yeah, it doesn't really tickle my fancy.
Well, how about this one? Try this one on for size, if I can pronounce it correctly. Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. The Florida Gators versus the UCF Knights. Nobody cares, right?
They're playing this game 3 years too late.
Yeah, exactly. They're playing an irrelevant UCF team now.
Yeah.
UCF doesn't have their quarterback. They're not this big undefeated season. Mullen's out. They've actually announced that they're going to start playing each other in a few years. So that whole thing of where they would never play each other has kind of gone out the window. Yeah, it's fun because it's a state rivalry type game, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, try this one on for size. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, Missouri versus Army. Aren't we going for Army here? Even though we're
Army.
SEC?
Come on, Army. I'd rather have Army in the SEC than stupid Missouri. That's all I got to say about that.
Army is going to run it down this team's throat. And I am so excited. Missouri ranks 120th nationally in yards allowed per play per carry. Army is going to they're going to run for 400 yards. It's going to be awesome.
It is. Go Army.
I'm going to give my prediction here. That might be my lock whenever we do it. Army rolls.
How about this one? No Coach O, the Tax Act Texas Bowl, LSU versus Kansas State. Coach O is not in. He's out. He's going out a winner after that last game.
There's just so much movement with some of these SEC teams. It makes me wonder how relevant something like this game. Who cares? Man, Kansas State, what are they really even doing there? They won one game, really. Right?
And they don't have their quarterback either. He missed their last game, so he may not be there. They have a really good running back there. It's so hard to predict these games because you just don't know who's going to show up. I don't know much about Kansas State other than I know that their quarterback didn't play the last game, and it's going to be up in question for this game.
All right, then we got the Outback Bowl. Yeah. Arkansas versus Penn State.
I'm interested in this game.
James Franklin, that's why you're interested.
I'm interested because I think these pigs might have a little bit of something left here.
Blake has a feeling, Parker.
Think they might want them a little bloomin' onion on that Penn State Nittany Lion ass.
I think that these two teams are actually going to try. Don't these teams feel the same deal? They both started out like 5-0, were top 5 teams, and then just hit a wall, got beat down by some people, and then just really slumped hard at the end. And Arkansas, with their coach, he's going to be ready to go. I assume Penn State will be the same. Just playing an SEC team, you want to beat them for recruiting reasons, right?
These are two teams that are trying to prove that their year was not a fluke.
That's right. And ready to take the next step up.
And I'm going to say this. If he wins this bowl, does he win the Coach of the Year award?
I think he could.
He's in there.
If he beats,
I think he's in there with or without the win.
He may be, but I think it really helps his stock in it if he beats James Franklin.
I'm
Jacksonville.
trying to think who else you would even pick. Maybe Cincinnati's coach.
Maybe. What was that? Fickle?
Yep.
Jacksonville will host the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, Texas A&M versus Wake. Blah. That's what I think.
Teams.
Blah.
2 fraudulent teams. They should call this the Tax Slayer Fraudulent Bowl. That's all I got to say. Go home.
Yeah.
Do your taxes.
They played each other 4 years ago, and it was at least an awesome game. It was 55-52. So maybe we'll get some, maybe we'll at least get a good game out of it.
Will there be a good game here in Nashville, Tennessee? The Trans Perfect Music City Bowl, the UT Vols versus the Purdue Boilermakers.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of a little bit miffed that Tennessee got the Music City Bowl.
I know Parker doesn't like it. He wanted to go to Florida.
Well, I mean, hey, a lot of you can't blame these bowls for taking ranked teams. It is, however, interesting because Tennessee's fan base is notorious for traveling. They'll go anywhere to watch this team play. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the stadium here in Nashville is going to be clad in orange. I mean, it's going to be like watching a Tennessee Vanderbilt game with the little small section of
Purdue.
gold and black going on over there. But all in all, hey, I think this actually would be a pretty fun game to watch. Honestly, all of Tennessee's games this year have been fun to watch, but now that everybody kind of sees the trajectory that they're on, it's kind of everybody has kind of an expectation for a big offensive game.
Parker, are you going to the game, and would you have gone if they were in Florida?
No, I'm not going to the game. And we talked about this a few weeks ago that Texas A&M, Florida, and Tennessee, one of those two of those teams were going to go to Florida, and one of them wasn't. And obviously, I mean, of course, Middle Tennessee wants Tennessee. I mean, it's going to be crazy. And I actually think Purdue is sneaky when they travel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have a sneaky fan base. I think we could see 25% of the stadium, especially since it's in Nashville. Like, hey, it's a fun party. It's we can go down there for New Year's.
Yeah.
It's not that far. It's relatively inexpensive. The problem with this game is Purdue has got a stud at wide receiver in David Bell. I bet you he doesn't play.
Well, that's good because Alontae Taylor's not playing either.
So maybe it works out. But y'all, we talked about Purdue in shows past. Remember, they're the giant killers. They have beat 2 number 2 teams this year.
Yep.
And speaking of bets, he mentioned betting. Parker, this line opened at Purdue -3, and the professional bettors have bet this all the way to now it's Tennessee -3.
Yeah, I think that was a huge mistake on their part. I don't know. There's a lot of momentum in Knoxville right now, and particularly with all the recruiting stuff that's going on. That's the recruiting trail's just lit up after Heupel has made it very clear that he isn't going anywhere.
He did, and the rumor mill's out too about after this game that Hooker's going to officially announce that he's staying.
There are a lot of other people around him, like other players, that have announced that they are staying for their super senior season. And that only leads me to believe that they believe that Hendon Hooker is staying too. Their captain is staying with them.
Juicy. I know now why you're not going to be there. I just looked at the next game. Parker will be going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl that pits South Carolina versus bordering North Carolina. That's where Parker will be.
Oh, yes. I am a war of the states. So really excited about going to this game.
Isn't it pretty obvious? I mean, they totally went regional on all these bowls. You realize that, right? Houston, LSU, Arkansas is about the only outlier. Gator Bowl, Texas A&M, that's not too far. Tennessee, Nashville, Charlotte, South Carolina, North Carolina, Memphis, Mississippi State. I mean,
but I don't know.
But this game, I think the big thing of picking bowl games, like the number one thing is what teams are motivated, right?
Yeah.
And North Carolina was a top 10 team coming into this. They're 6-6. They suck. They haven't been good all year. South Carolina is dreadful, but hey, they made it to the bowl game under their coach Shane Beamer for the first year. They're going to be pumped and jacked and ready to play in this game.
What about in Memphis? I think this is Memphis. AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Mississippi
Walking
State
in Memphis
versus Texas Tech. I have no interest in it.
Nothing burger.
I literally have nothing about this.
Get you a Huey's burger down there when you go to Rendezvous.
All right. So so Parker gets a break. He gets to go to the South Carolina North Carolina matchup. He gets to take a nap, and then he's back in time for the VRBO Citrus Bowl, Kentucky versus Iowa.
This will be 6-3. It'll be. So I looked at this. The over/under on this game is 45, and I don't understand how either one of these
45.
Does that not seem insane?
What?
I mean, Rodriguez is going to have to run for 7 touchdowns then.
Golly.
Iowa hasn't scored 45 points all year.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig into this one and have some good stuff for us on our predictions.
So yeah, totally opposite of that. Then it might be a scoring fest here in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Ole Miss versus Baylor.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of laying down. I know that. A lot of cramps. A lot of tweaks going on. There'll be a lot of they're going to be putting the medical tent to use there on the Ole Miss sideline.
Yeah, this although could be fun though because Baylor has got a sneaky good offense.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they scored 33 points per game.
They're the champs.
They are. I think it'd be a fun game. This is one of my more fun matchups if I'm ranking bowl games. I think this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I think it's a big good one to watch.
And then of course it rounds out with the ones that we've already mentioned: the Capital One Orange Bowl, Georgia versus Michigan, and the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, Alabama versus Cincinnati. That's the rundown. That was our quick reactions about last week.
Yeah.
What else do y'all have? Anything else? MTSU, they're going bowling, right, Parker?
They are. They're headed to Bahamas, man. They get some great, I think these bowls feel sorry for MTSU and these crap places they have to go play because it wasn't long ago they played in Hawaii and now they get Bahamas. So, yeah, MTSU was actually the first bowl game named.
Let's do it.
Really?
And I do have to take a second and pick on one other bowl game. That's the Alamo Bowl, who's pitted Oregon versus Oklahoma. And
wow.
Now they don't have a coach.
They don't have a coach, and it's funny you should say that, Blake.
Is it going to be Chip?
Because I had a second. I looked up something, and I put a tweet out on Twitter, and some Oklahoma fans took issue with it. I said they should be shocked. They shouldn't be shocked that Riley up and left. What could they expect? The university did the same thing to the Big 12. So karma did its thing. And I hinted at this a couple of times ago when we talked, but I'll be more direct this time because Oklahoma fans have problems understanding that. Lincoln Riley's departure from Oklahoma University was smart, but it's also because he was scared. Oklahoma is coming to the SEC, and they will not win double-digit games for year to come. Get ready to top out at 8 or 9 wins. They're just inferior to SEC competition. He literally left because he's scared. This isn't a shot at Riley. This is a shot at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, during the college football playoffs under Riley, guess what? 0-4. 3 of those losses to SEC teams. In those 3 games to SEC teams, they gave up 162 total points. The only person they lost to was Clemson. They lost to them by 20. That wasn't the SEC team. During his time at Oklahoma, Riley struggled against SEC teams. How many SEC victories do you think Riley had while he was at Oklahoma? The answer
0.
is
1.
The answer is 1. And that was against a Florida team that had quit. I'm not surprised Riley left for a better city, better recruiting, better school, better money, and a team that's won more championships and won more recently. One more shot at the Sooners. You'd think Oklahoma fans would think that they'd be top 3 consistently recruiting. This year, they're 10th, which I'm sure will even drop more. That's behind USC. Last year, they were 12th. There were 7 SEC schools in front of them. 2019, they were 6th. That's 5 SEC schools in front of them. 2018, 9th behind USC. 2017, 8th, also behind USC. After going back and looking throughout the year, I think Riley knew his team would fall apart and wanted to get out while he still is the guy. After Oklahoma barely beat freaking Kansas, he said, quote, "We're obviously pretty thin in a lot of areas, and we're tired of being close. Good luck in sunny California, Coach Riley, because Oklahoma sucks."
And that was a Parker power bomb right through this table.
Oh, gosh.
I wanted to get some Oklahoma hate off my chest, fellas.
There you go.
He can breathe a little easier.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us on this, our college reaction show. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Go ahead and get the conversation started there. If you want to argue with Parker, Boomer Sooner, go for it. Tell me what you think about the college football playoff. Did they get it right with Cincinnati getting in, or should someone else be in? Who knows? How's it going to turn out? Guys, closing thoughts.
I don't know who's coaching my team.
There are a lot of teams out there that don't know who's going to coach your team this year.
It's going to be a mess.
It is. Parker, what about it, man? Closing thoughts?
I'm just ready for a couple of days to break down some of these games and looking forward to our preview show.
All right, that's awesome. Only thing I know is go Big Orange. You guys be well.